that a pretty hibiscus? Walk up the path. I replanted those tires with different things. Rosemary, carrots. These are wax beans coming up. This side has different things planted in it. Cucumbers mostly. Peas up at this end. And some tomatoes. And more tomatoes. Kale and clay on the zucchinis. Keep the squash bugs at bay. And we have a bloom in there. It doesn't have a fruit on it, but there are some somewhere down in there. We saw them the other day. This is the apple tree. And it has the kale and clay on it. And an apple hanging back there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Kind of dead center. And there's one right down here. And it's starting to turn red. Got some mushrooms over there. Take you someplace I never take you. Along this fence. I have a little black cat under my feet. That one. Sherry's been pulling weeds back here to get to the blackberries, and they're all back in here. What are you stepping on, sweetie? There are just all kinds of blackberries back in here. And there's Jerusalem artichokes over there. They'll be blooming before long. We put them over there because it's a wet area. And we don't have any use for that area. Pretty much. So, yeah. There's her weed pile. Pretty good sized weed pile there she's got going on. And a busted up cup. And that was where she planted beans too early, but I didn't say anything. I just said, beans? In May? And it was still cool out. And they didn't come up. So she just let it go to weeds. It'd be a good place to plant some brassicas. This is her apple trees that really need some copper on them. They're looking kind of rough. Little kitty, honey, don't be under my feet. Sweet potatoes, 2 tubs of sweet potatoes right here. Get my shadow out of the way. There and there, there's a tomato there. I have a flower in a pot back here that's blooming. It's getting ready to bloom. It's trying. I'm going to move it out where it can get some sun. I got stuck back in there the other day. There we go. Now we can see it. It's starting to bloom. And there's one in where the greenhouse used to be that caved in from the ice, the heavy ice storm we had, are sweet potatoes and more sweet potatoes and strawberries. And then there's the strawberry bed back there with the asparagus and the pussy willows and cattails, that's what they are. And I'm going to have to start thinking about thinning some of those plants in there. That's for fall, the fall garden. Little cucumbers are coming along good. Tomatoes and peppers. And I gave these guys some nitrogen. Let me get my shadow out of the way. I gave them some nitrogen this morning. I have to water it in. Haven't gotten that far. Wait until evening to water them in. These are the Be It Alpha and Mercury cucumbers. I'm not really pleased with them. They've been producing a lot, but I don't know. The leaves are susceptible to something. They're not looking all that great. These guys look thirsty back here. I'm going to have to water. But everything's looking fine other than a little wilting there going on. But sunflowers are getting ready to bloom. Won't be long. And the voodoo lilies are popping out of the ground. As you can see down here, there's quite a few of them. Hi, Smiley. Do you want to say something? No? What do you want to say? Oh. Is it hot? Is she in your space? She's not supposed to be there. You can tell her to leave. Here's some more of the voodoo lilies. Mom calls them naked ladies because they don't have leaves at the bottom. They just pop up out of the ground and bloom. I think the technical name for them is voodoo lilies. Zinnia getting ready to pop open. Won't be long. That plant right there is plantain, and it's got kale and clay on it too. That's pretty much bug relief. It really releases it relieves the bug pressure in our area. And it's better than 7 Dust or something like that because it doesn't kill the beneficial bees and stuff, the beneficial bugs. But we've got lots of tomatoes in here that haven't started turning yet, but they will. There's a whole bunch back in here. They're just all over the place. Whole bunch over here. More tomatoes over here. I don't know how many tomatoes I planted, but there's a lot. Another tomato there. That's the moonflower, or the Jimson weed. They call them moonflowers, but they're not. And up there is a butternut squash. Probably get a better view from the other side. And in a few days, I'll wash this stuff off, the kaolin clay. It'll come off and there'll be less bugs out here. At least the harmful bugs. The squash bugs are so bad. This time of year is like the prime time for them. New little butternut squash. What is it, honey? What? You're in the shade. Yeah. Goodness. Girls, be nice to each other. Don't get that hateful look on your face. And come around to the other side. There's melons over there. Those are all watermelons on the edge, growing outward. And those are Trombosino squash, which is a zucchini. And there's some more down here. And then over here, you can see the butternut squash back in there. Pretty good size. Full size. And the one over here is even bigger. Isn't that nice? Good size squash right there. More tomatoes. More tomatoes. I'm all for more tomatoes. Another zucchini over here. That's huge. I've pulled a couple off of it already. And there's one ready to pick. Already right down there. See that big honker? That popped up overnight. Wow. I still have one sitting in there that I haven't done anything with. I'm going to have to start cooking zucchini. This is the okra right through there. And some more squash over here that I need to pull some weeds. What, sweetie? Get these weeds back. This grass. There we go. That's better. The grapes. Oh, she kaolin clayed the grapes too. That's a good idea. These haven't produced yet. The ones on the other side, well, I can't really show you. I guess I can walk over here. Nope, I can't get through that way. Okay, let's see if I can find another way to get over there. I was just there and walked past them. Okay, here we go. These grapes have been producing. Small bunches, but hey, it's their first year. So they're enjoying the Ohio climate. Good thing. There's a lot of trees all around us. And they're mine. They're my trees. Get you over here again. And there's some pitiful corn. I was late putting it out, and the only reason I put it out was I just wanted the biomass. Chop and drop. These are peppers in here. And we've been getting a lot of peppers off of them. They're doing really well. I see some little ones on there. Compost pile. They're here, there, and everywhere. Noodle beans are putting down their noodles. There's a few right here. Down here. Bunch of little ones that'll puff up in no time. These tomato plants I haven't tied up yet, but I have the string out here to tie them up with. I just haven't done it yet, but I will. There's a lot to do here. That is an eggplant. One eggplant. I didn't plant anymore because I don't even like eggplant. Never really cared too much for it. That's all spinach. In through there. And then a row of tomatoes. Silver fir tomatoes. They're a determinate tomato. They only grow so big and about 4 feet tall, and whatever they put on ripens, and that's what you get. I'll walk you over to the beans, the actual bean area, which is back here under this arch that's doing nothing. I'm just sitting here. Flowers. That's some okra in there. I don't really like okra either, but I'm growing it anyway. There's some purple noodle beans in there. A few. Most of them are the green ones. They grow really fast. And when you pick these, you pick them when they're pretty long, and one bean is equivalent to about 10 beans. So it doesn't take very many to have a pot full. The bush beans back here, lots of blooms on them. And I see beans forming. Sherry, you've got beans on your bush beans. Yep. Little baby ones. Yep. Lots of blooms in there. Here's some noodle beans that are really ready to be picked. I mean, seriously, these things are long.
Oh, wow. Where'd those show up from?
Here's some more just like them.
They just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, they do. As soon as I water, it's like they're there. I love it. That's a cherry tree right there.
We are out of the
Plums.
good fabric steaks.
Pears. That's a pear.
Okay.
This is where I planted the morel mushrooms. All in this area. It's nice and shady and it gets a little sun. Morels do like sun, unlike most of your other mushrooms. But I even marked it so I'd know where I dumped them out. Of course, they could come up anywhere. Morels are weird like that. People put them in a raised bed and then they're mowing their grass one day and they see them And they're not in the raised bed, they're in their lawn. Tricky. But they sure are tasty. This is a Lacticarium wild lettuce. It's also referred to as poor man's opium. And it has a white latex sap that comes out of it. And it can be processed and made into a painkiller. Different view of the pears over there. And the peaches from over here. This is a walking onion. They get these little onion bulbs on them. And eventually it gets heavy and they fall over and touch the ground and they root in. And an onion sprouts wherever they touch, or several onions. They call them Egyptian walking onions. It takes a carrot 2 years to bloom. Once they bloom, you can save the seeds when they dry up, when the heads dry up, for seeds for next year.